Welcome to another painting tutorial. This one we're going to look at some Blood Angels Landspeeders. So I painted up 3 of these in a batch, and I plan on using these with my Blood Angels, or more likely what's going to happen is Dave is going to use them with his and my Blood Angels in some battle reports. So that's Dave from Mini Wargaming, and yeah, so he's working on some as well, but I think I finished mine first. So let's walk through how I did them. So I did them pretty quickly, tabletop standard. Nothing too fancy. Just to mention, I did it with all the old GW paints except for the paint chips. By that point, I had the new paints. Everything else, though, was done with the old GW paints. What I will do, though, is if you go to my blog, it's like watching paint dried up blogspot.com, which will be linked in the description below. I'll have a post there with the equivalent new paints for that, and I'm going to do that on my videos going forward. So check my blog and subscribe and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, feel free to ask questions if you have any comments or otherwise. So what I did is I started off with some basically, well, I started with red spray paint, and then I went with the airbrush so I could use the exact colors, and I used a little bit of GW Blood Red, so I sprayed that on there, tried to layer it up so it was kind of brighter on the top side up here, and give some natural shadows. But of course that didn't really make much of a difference, not really noticeable on a tabletop. I didn't really worry about the bottom here because I'm going to be painting that all silver. So here I am on my tabletop, and what I've done is I've kind of dry brushed / stippled GW Blood Red on everything. So what I'm trying to do is trying to get a nice even bright red. So I'm trying to get the red as bright as possible because I really like that kind of look on the Blood Angels, and so that's kind of where I'm going with this here. So try to get as much of an even red as I can. Apologize for the picture, but painting on bolt gun metal on all the metal bits, and yeah, so just base coating that, nothing special, and on everything underneath and the back. Okay, then painting on some pure black things. I didn't bother actually doing any detail at the tip of those missiles, and did some black here and there, around there. Okay, so nothing too fancy there, and I didn't actually even go and highlight that. I figured it looked good enough as it was. So now I believe I'm giving everything a, yeah, so Bad Black Wash or Newland Oil if you're doing the new paints. And actually, if you check out my videos, I did a test on one of these as I was reviewing the paints. So either or of the washes is fine. Now I'm doing some flesh tones on here and some blonde hair on this guy. Again, doing really quick paint jobs on these. Painted the crests on the ones that had them black. A little bit of silver in here. So I highlighted these guys up using just standard flesh colors, so whatever you have, GW, Reaper, New GW, you know how that goes. Okay, and so when I did do the main part of these, I also dry brushed a little bit. So I have a big brush, it's equivalent of a GW tank brush, and mixed a little bit of, which one is it? It's sort of an orangey yellow. It's not rotting flesh, vomit brown. So vomit brown makes a nice highlight. If you're using the new GW paints, you'll see that in a second. I believe I took a picture. So painted the heads on these guys because they're fast attacks, so the concerted assault choices. Painted them yellow and gave them a nice thick wash there. There you go, Jokero orange. That's what I used for the paint chipping. So that's kind of the equivalent of the other one that I used in my other videos. So all I did is I painted sort of jagged edges around some of the exposed corners, and that's going to be the base for my paint chips. So if I was really ambitious, I would have gone around and painted all these edges with that. Probably would have mixed it a little bit so it wouldn't be quite so harsh. But I don't really do edge highlights that often, just more because it takes too long. But I do like how it looks. It's very traditional GW sort of look. Anyways, went around, painted all those, did a little bit of gold here, and that's going to get a Devlin Mud Wash or Agrax Earthshade. That's the other reason why I'm not really using the new colors, because I can't pronounce any of them. But anyways, those will be on my blog. So yeah, all of these, so highlighted up that helmet there. You see all those paint chips kind of done randomly wherever. Working my way around there. So the other thing I did was I went with thinned down blood red, and I went over the drivers. So they're a much more vibrant red than the rest of the Landspeeder. The reason for that is I thought, this is going to be worn and whatever, and I want these guys to stand out just a little bit more. So I spent a little bit of time on them, bringing out the reds. And it may or may not show up in the pictures, but in person you can tell there's a little difference. So just a little bit of emphasis on the driver and gunner. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm painting in highlights here. So that's chainmail or runefang steel, I think it is, for the new ones. So just painting slightly inside the lines and keeping like kind of a halo of that Jokero orange, and doing that on all of these edges here. You can see over there as well. Oh, sorry. That's another project that'll be next. Just skip through. Okay, so now I'm doing Vallejo pigment. So I got these, got them from Maelstrom Games actually, and I'm trying them out. It ended up being a little bit of a failed experiment, so first time, no problem. So the idea is I want a little bit of dirt and dust kind of shown on here. So I did the dark pigment first, brushed that on with a nice wide brush, and then I used a lighter pigment to try to go on there. And what I should have done is I should have sealed this all with a matte spray first. But what I did, and I sprayed them with a matte spray after, and you can't really see hardly any of the pigments. So just as a note, use your pigments after. So I didn't really have I wanted to get on to my next project, so I didn't go back and do any of the weathering on these, but I probably will now that I have it handy. Probably go through and do my whole Blood Angels army so it looks the same. So there's my guys. Oh, the other thing I did was I used the GW recommended steps for the decals. So that was a layer of Ard coat. Then I placed the decals on using just regular water. I used some Decals Sol, which is a microsol solution, Microscale Industries. So I brushed a little bit of that on to help soften up the decals. And then once that was dry, I put on a layer of the GW medium, so the lanolin, whatever it's called, the clear medium, and that sealed those on nicely, and I didn't get any sort of misting. So just as a note out there, that worked. I've had some problems with decals in the past, and these ones I think went on quite well. And I just followed the same sort of pattern that was in the Blood Angels Codex for where those were placed. So we've got a smaller Blood Angel symbol there, and the Assault sort of a symbol there. And just looking around the different angles of these, I didn't do a lot of extra detail. Probably could have added some, discoloring onto these nozzles, but really wanted tabletop and fast. So yeah, these guys here will do nicely for battle reports and regular play, but they're not going to be winning any awards. So a bit more of a close-up, and you can see I didn't do any detail on those heavy bolters there. But I think on the tabletop as a squadron, these guys will look quite nice. And you can see a little bit of the highlighting on those edges there, and that was just from the dry brushing. Wasn't too worried about getting that exact. And there's your front-on sort of a look. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Check out my blog, like I said, for the listing of paints as they would be in the new range, and check back for more next time.